Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. I hope you're doing well today. We are activating our shit shields. Click! Little coffee with Karen today. And we are going to be going over what I have found to be very interesting information. I know we have been discussing this book from time to time over the last, every once in a while you'll see me pop this book up, The Committee of 300. But I'm going to go over probably what I think is probably the most significant part of this book over the next 3 nights. I have a feeling so you're going to see me with this sweater on. It's not really a sweater, it's like fleece, but whatever. And we are going to be going over what he basically says the government is doing, really mind control stuff, which I think is really important. Okay. Psychological warfare and social conditioning, how this all started. And I think this is really important. And I'm going to tell you in a minute, once we talk about what we're going to talk about over the next 3 nights. I want to tell you kind of where I see the focus of this community going. Okay. So then we're going to get into, he really talks about the different organizations and why they were set up around the world. NATO, it's very interesting. The Club of Rome, which, I didn't hear about until I started reading this book. FEMA, very interesting. Polling and media manipulation. Surveillance and data systems. Stanford Research Institute, military and intelligence claims from the book, Human Resource Research Office, and Freedom House, which I'm not sure what that is, Committee for a Democratic Majority, Foreign Policy Research Institute, Social Democrats USA, Institute for Social Relations, War Resisters League. These were all set up on purpose, by the way. This is why we want to talk about this. Anti-Defamation League, Cambridge Policy Studies Institute, Center for the Study of Democratic Institutions, Harvard Psychological Clinic. You can kind of see where this is all going. Institute for Social Research. Okay, that just gives you a little idea, all right? I probably, we'll just see how this goes because we want to keep it interesting, obviously, but I think it's going to be. So let me just give you my thoughts about this. I am going to be mailing this out on our newsletter. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can click on that open that QR code, or the link is in the description. I'm going to be sending this out with the report of what we've been talking about. Okay. I am moving on from this at this point, and I think I am got enough awareness, and I want to tell you why, from what they were talking about. Okay. So what I've decided right now, this is what feels good to me from all the things that I've been exploring, is there are 4 areas I want us to focus on. This is how I'm going to be facilitating the community for the upcoming whatever until things shift again. Okay. My values for the community will be awareness. So anything that will help us become more aware of how the world works, how the bigger whatever you guys want to cover, it doesn't matter. Awareness. Okay. Love, which means we always want to stay in our heart. We always want to stay heart-centered no matter what. So I will do my absolute best to keep us, as we become aware of things, heart-centered. And I'm going to tell you how. Unity, which means we will not be talking anymore about us and them unless it's like high vibration, low vibration stuff. Okay. I am no longer interested. As you guys know, I've been talking about this for a couple months anyways, But I think the key here to awareness, the more you become aware, the higher your vibration is. I really am feeling that. However, it also could go the opposite way if you are not staying in love and unity. If the awareness creates more division for you or more fear, then it's going the opposite way. For me, it's not. It's going this way, but I can see every once in a while it does bring me down, right? So I want to make sure that those are kind of our values as we are becoming aware of things, okay, with the Lead Team Collective and just during Coffee with Karen. And we're talking about stuff like this, okay? So I also want to get back to, like, I am going to throw up. I'm going to put up some posts. We were doing this for a long time, and I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to start posting again for your questions about different topics. So I am going to post, what questions do you guys have specifically for this committee of 300? Okay. I already have like I want to post GATE programs. We want to do a session on GATE programs. So Rockefellers, I want to do it because they come up in this stuff all the time. So in terms of the Lead Team Collective, we'll probably do a whole thing on galaxies and that whole thing, okay? But just so set your notifications, subscribe and set your notifications so that you can contribute your questions, because you guys ask way better questions than I can ever get when I ask by AI. It's just, you're human and we like your questions. So that's going to be part of the awareness thing. Now, the love and the unity is really how we address it. 1. 2, you want to always watch your vibration as we are going into awareness stuff. Always watch your vibration. If it starts to sink, turn it off. That's the same thing with anything in your life. Turn it off, ground yourself, recenter so that you're not, you're not staying in a low vibration. Because I don't know how long the awareness thing is going to last for me, where I want to just stay in love and unity. Right now, I'm still in awareness, and I do feel sort of a calling to be here for others, to facilitate awareness discussions the best that I can within love and unity. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay there myself, but I feel like this is where my higher self wants me to be with the community, okay? Just to give people a place to come for awareness, but also that stays in love and unity. This information, if you were here for the last 7, 8 conversations, feels, I'm glad I'm aware, but it doesn't feel love and unity to me. And so that's why I'm moving on from it. Okay. So, because this is like current day people's opinions about things, and I'm just not quite sure about that energy personally. Now, the other way that I want to do this, and I'm going to have to really think about this because I have my own energy to manage, let's say. And what I really want to do in an ideal world is we would have communication about something where we become aware of, which usually takes about 30 minutes or longer. It's always longer when I'm doing Coffee with Karen. But when we do Ask the Spirit Guides and you guys have your questions, it's usually 30 minutes. But what I'd really like to do is every time we do an awareness segment is that we do a clearing and get some maybe feedback from an oracle, because that will keep us in love and unity. But I have to think about how to do that conserves my energy, because that would be And you guys typically, the data shows, don't listen longer than like 20, 25 minutes. So it may just be that I have to do, and I don't know, you tell me in the comments here if this would be interesting to you, where we do one night, it would be like a 2-day series always. We would do an awareness night, and the next night we would do love and unity, love and clearing. It would be basically, I want to make sure that we're always clearing whatever we're learning about so that we don't absorb it and that we stay high vibration. Okay. So let me know how you think, like, would you come back the next night and do that? I could always try to do it in one video, but that's going to always be like 45 minutes long. And I kind of have to watch my energy because I probably wouldn't, it would be harder for me to put out things every night if I did that. So the question is, would you like them in one video, or would you like we would do 30 minutes of Ask the Spirit Guides awareness questions and then do a clearing and a card and wrap it up, that type of thing. Okay. If I do that, we may not do it every night, maybe every other night. I don't know. I'm just exploring how to do this energy wise. Or we just, like I do every other. We do once a night, every other. Okay, so you let me know. Okay. I'll run your comments here so you guys can let me know. I might even put a post out. I'll put a poll. Maybe I'll put a poll out after. I always have to remember to put a poll out though. After this video goes out, I think it's going out tomorrow night maybe. To put a poll out about that too. But I'll also just go ahead and comment here if you don't hit the poll. Okay, so let's go over this. Once we go over all those things I'm going to talk about, then it will give me more time to explore that new structure. Okay? Okay, so Committee of 300, Dr. John Coleman, written in 1992. This is when it was first published, 1992. He was, he was a professional intelligence officer. He said, I had on many occasions, access to highly classified documents. But during service as a political science officer in the field in Angola, West Africa, I had the opportunity to view a series of top secret classified documents, which was unusually explicit. What I saw filled me with anger and resentment and launched me on a course from which I have not deviated, namely to uncover what power it is that controls and manages the British and United States governments. It's very interesting. So we're just exploring, okay? You guys can actually put your questions too in this video, the next couple of videos as we talk about this stuff. You can put your questions in and we'll pull them from here too, but I'll also do a post. Okay, so Dr. Coleman argues that a hidden power structure called the Committee of 300 controls governments, media, military systems, finance, education, public opinion, and social behaviors through networks of think tanks, foundations, intelligence-linked organizations, research institutions, and psychological operations. The reason I think this is important to have as a base for us going forward is just to have, now, do we take this as a Bible? No, of course not. We're just exploring, and you're going to see what part of it, you're going to think of your life and what you've been exposed to in relation to this information to see what part of that actually rings true for you. Okay. Some of it might not, some of it might, but then it might help you be more aware of what you expose yourself to. Okay. Or if you want to continue with the division, at least you'll be aware of where those division discussions are coming from. Okay. So John says presidents are selected through elite networks rather than true public choice. My understanding is, they all are, but Barack too. So everybody, he did come up through an elite schooling system. Governments are infiltrated through policy organizations and think tanks. Psychological warfare techniques are used on civilian populations. That's what we're going to be going over. Media and polling shaped public opinion intentionally. Like how they always give us those polls. How do you know? Who are they talking to? Yeah, right. They just make up those. Who are they polling? Exactly. But then we just sit and listen to that's their polling data. Okay. And then we change our minds or we get hope based on our energy shifts based on the polls. I've always wondered about that. It's just crazy. Surveillance systems are expanding towards total societal monitoring. That was in 1992. That's the year I got married, by the way. Yeah. That was before 1992. He wrote this book and did all this research. I don't even know when he didn't say what years. Oh, he came to the United States in 1969. So this was in the 60s. This is like in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, 69 to 70. He said, I set about remedying the situation in a series of monographs and cassette tapes. You can actually see his old videos on YouTube, some of them. So this was written in 1992. So this is interesting, right? So surveillance systems are expanding towards total societal monitoring. This is all the stuff that he found in those documents, that this was how they were doing this. This is how they're controlling humanity, basically. Crisis and fear are used to manage populations. The long-term goal is a one-world government. Okay. Which, is kind of interesting to me because that feels like that. What we've been talking about, this feels like that's what those people sound like, one world government. And when I talk about division, I'm talking about religions. I am talking about, this is crazy, you guys, because all the rabbit holes I've gone down. That's why I want to focus on unity. Anytime you're listening to anybody who's does not have a unity focus, personally, I'm steering clear. Which means, even how I get my news, if I'm not getting the news that's balanced, like both sides, like I like Sabby Sabs because she's independent. So she, does, I think, try to show the whole side of things, but you have to use discernment, not just about Sabby, but about anybody. Ground News is a good one. If you want to make sure, do you guys use Ground News at all? I haven't talked about Ground News very much recently, but we do have a affiliate for 40% off if you wanted to get it's always in the description. If you wanted to sign up through our affiliate link, you would get 40% off. And the reason they're really helpful, and I go to Ground News, is you can look up they rate whether they're high factuality, low factuality articles, and you can choose, and then centered articles, not just right or left. Those are the ones I tend to read. Okay. So very, very helpful. So feel free. 40% off they offer people when you're an affiliate. That's why we signed up, so we could get 40% off. So anyways, definitely think about that, who you're listening to. Because here's the funny thing. There are people I really do enjoy listening to, but religion, divisions. People who are, totally into Jesus or totally into Judaism or totally into that, there's division there. There just is. There's division. Okay? Not that they're wrong. I'm not saying anything about, I don't want to create the division. I'm just saying that watch the division talk. Okay. Also, so that's something we're going to try not to do here. And you could call me out on it because I'm sure I will still do it. Like when I call people dingleberries and stuff like that. Um, I've gone down the rabbit hole of our extraterrestrial friends. Okay. The galactic stuff. They're fighting. They're fighting. So David Wilcock apparently was heavily bullied by other people in that community. I mean, it's just like, phew. So I did stumble across. We'll talk about the whole galactic stuff later, but there is somebody. I think yes, I do know about Elizabeth April. Lily, what's Lily's last name? I will link both of these people down below because you guys, when I mention them, you're like, where are they? Lily was just on Wisdom of the North, Wisdom of the True North, or something like that. See, I do like those podcasts. Like I like, Emilio's, Alex. I'll list them below. Wisdom of the North. I like those because they will talk about things, but there's no division talk. Lee Harris, no division talk, right? When you're listening to different things, just watch. If there's division talk, I really like Elizabeth April. She's good. I think, at explaining things, but she makes my energy a little lower when I'm listening to her. This Lily, who I'm going to post below, I really like the way she explains things. And she's very much understands no division. Okay. But I like how she explains things. When you listen to that stuff, though, I know I'm kind of off topic, but what else is new? When you listen to that stuff, because I just listened to her talk about how it's a whole nother level of awareness. Let me just tell you that. So if you're not quite ready for that, like I think we need to be in like the awareness of what's actually happening on our planet versus like the energies and how they can get at us and all this kind of stuff. But that's also why I want to make sure we're doing clearings and we're staying in that high vibration. Okay. Because there's all these things you can do physically, clear your parasites and clear I know I sound like I'm mocking that, which I'm really not, but what I'm saying is there are 1,000,001 things that you could be doing physically to protect your energy, to protect your physical body, but it also can leave you in a state of paranoia or a state of you can freeze because there's too much. So anyway, so that's a whole nother topic. But so I personally, when I do the clearings with the lead team, that tends to be kind of enough for me, like what I need. Now, it doesn't mean it's enough for you, or depending, we all have to eat different things, but you just have to be really careful with when you start learning about some of that galactic stuff, especially that you could go down this we also have to just enjoy being human beings, like having the human experience. Like I get there's like negative shit going on and negative energy, hence the shit shield activated. Got to activate our shit shields. I get that. Like we'll always activate our shit shields. That's basically, if you just keep your shit shield activated, you'll be fine. That's how I feel. Like just keep it simple. Keep it simple. But when I realized that this whole galactic community, they're all arguing, there's infighting going on, I'm like, no, 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 no. Now there's division between you guys, So we're not going to do that here. We're not doing that here. At least I'm not going to. Okay. So You can see how these conversations, why they take me a while to get through them. Well, there's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. Okay, so where were we here? Yeah, the whole the one world government. I know that's where I kind of strayed from here. So if you're going to get this report that I have, just keep all that stuff in mind, right? So yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so the government and political control claims from this book. All right. So John says president candidates since Franklin Roosevelt were selected through what's called the Council on Foreign Relations Influence. The 1980 election was controlled through this Council of Foreign Relations Influence. Policy-making positions were filled through the CFR and NATO-linked networks. The Heritage Foundation, interesting, acted as a Trojan horse. Henry Kissinger directed CFR influence. These are all part of the Committee of 300. George Shultz was chosen because of ties to Kissinger and it doesn't really matter, these other people. Jimmy Carter accelerated placement of pro-conspiracy personnel. Jimmy Carter. This guy did a lot of research, okay? So here's my thoughts. And I know it's funny because when I started going down rabbit holes like this, I remember reading a comment from a lovely community member. And they said, the way to learn something is to read books. Like read things that people put some time into. You know what I mean? So, and researched. Because nowadays you get information from people like Mabel ran this for me. AI ran this for me based on 40 transcripts of these people talking about stuff on YouTube. That's where I got that report from. But I don't know where they got that information. So, I'm more likely to trust this because of this guy's experience. If it, you got to use discernment, of course. But so, yeah, we got to read books. What a concept, right? Rather than just getting all these little clips all the time. So Jimmy Carter accelerated placement of pro-conspiracy personnel. So the CIA apparently coined, this is all allegedly and entertainment purposes only, of course, coined the term conspiracy theory so that nobody would believe anybody they would never believe this kind of conversation, right? And then Paul Volcker was appointed under direction from David Rockefeller. He has to do with brainwashing. We'll talk about him, okay? Upcoming. But the Rockefellers, a part of the Committee of 300. So Jimmy Carter was not a member of the Committee of 300, but he did work the next layer down. All of them did. So from 1980, okay? So psychological warfare and social conditioning that he talks about. Populations are psychologically conditioned without realizing it. There was an organization set up called Tavistock methods shaped modern social engineering. Profiling techniques are used on individual groups and nations. Profiling. I mean, this is why we have to stay in love and unity, because they're going to hate that. Because they're trying, they just keep us divided. That just works really well for them. Fear and demoralization make populations easier to control. That's why we have to stay in love, because if you think about it, there are two emotions. There's high vibration and low vibration. There's love and fear. Everything that doesn't feel good comes from fear. Anger comes from fear. The only reason you're angry about something is because it's triggered some kind of fear in you. And you are, oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so I was talking about this love and fear thing, right? This has never happened to me before. Talk about my system listening to me. Because you know how I've been talking about, oh, I got to record in 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. My recorder turned off at 30 minutes exactly when I was in the middle of that love and fear. And it said maximum time recorded. So now I have to splice this onto that. Okay, that is weird. That's like it's like my spirit team or it's the system listening to me. That has never happened. I mean, my recording device does not have a maximum set time. I never set the time for that. What's that all about? Okay, so yeah, love and fear, right? So they are using fear, and they're doing that right now with the fear of the higher prices. This is why we have to adapt. We have to adapt without fear. We just have to do it. That's why I think the lead team, I think that's why the lead team told us prepare for 6 months, not for shortages, but that if you bought 6 months in advance, you don't have to buy these high prices. Or, I kind of thought about this, you don't have to go to the store and use your gas because, I don't know, they're predicting it could be $7, $10 a gallon, like in the United States, like nationwide. I don't know. And yeah, did that spark a little fear? Breathe, center yourself. Okay. They have been getting us prepared. And that was our message that we got in the spirit circle. The one message, the first message for May was be prepared. Well, we are prepared because we've been talking about this if you've been here. Okay. If you're not, welcome, but you got to get a little prepared. Okay. So, but yeah, so that's why we want to take care of ourselves. We want to position ourselves in a way that we feel more sovereign so that they can't use fear against us, right? Love always wins. Everything always works out for me. Every day, in every way, everything gets better and better. Those are our kind of mantras. I forgot that second one a couple days ago. Thank you for reminding me, you guys. Every day, in every way, everything keeps getting better and better. Okay? You look at those gas prices, love wins. When you look at those gas prices, when you think about them, when you look at your food prices, you just say, love wins. You say every day in every way, everything keeps getting better and better because they want you to spiral down. They want that energy to spiral down. Okay? Don't give into that. This is coming off top of my head or my intuition or whatever. I've never done that myself, but I'm going to from now on. I'm going to be like, okay, that's fine. I can afford that. That's fine. Or I don't need that right now. It's okay. Love wins. I know love will win, And I don't even know if I like the win part because that does feel a little division, doesn't it? But okay, whatever. If we have to have a little competition, I think it's really important to stand in your no. Nope. No fear. Nope. You can raise the gas prices as high as you want to. I'll walk from now on. You know why? Because it's better for my body. It's better for me physically. So I'll be stronger physically then. Thank you. Whatever. But we need to stand in our no. We are taking our power back because they have been doing this psychological warfare. And our energy is saying no. No more. So that's why if you are watching or exposed to anything that's not love for everybody or is causing some kind of a division, we say no. No. I mean, I really like this one woman that I've been listening to. I'm not going to say who it is, but I like her. I think she uses really good critical thinking skills, but she is too much that Jesus is the only way. And that creates too much division for me. It's too and she sits in anger about it, you know? So I'd like to hear her talk about what stuff she's exploring, but I don't want to sit in that energy, you know? And I think that's how you protect yourself from whatever, all this psychological warfare stuff. Okay. But we still want to be aware. We want to be aware enough so that we can say, no. And you're aware enough when you're watching things of what they're doing. Okay. That's really why we want to have these conversations. But then we also want to, it's very important we keep our energy high. Okay, so a few more points about this, and then I will see you tomorrow night and we'll continue with some of the detail. So, the psychological warfare, confused populations eventually welcome authoritarian leadership. Confused populations. Anybody feeling confused? Yeah. That's why they got the division going. And here's the thing. Can we control that at this point? I don't know. But I'm not going to sit in fear about it. I'm not going to sit in fear about it. I'm not going to divide myself between them and me and you and, whatever. Nope. Other people, can we control the rest of the population? Staying confused? No. The United States is a democracy, but it looks like there's been a little bit of a takeover. Are we going to stay in fear about that? No, we're going to say everything always works out for us. And you know what? If we do that, then we don't have to worry about the whole 3D to 5D split thing. It's like, well, if we stay in that high energy, we will just move to the 5D when it happens, if it happens, how it happens. I'm not going to worry about it, right? We're going to be aware enough that we don't sit in fear. So that's the whole point of this community right now. Enough awareness to be able to say, nope, 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 nope. Enough awareness to keep our shit shields activated. To say, oh, shit shield. You're driving past the gas station, shit shield. Because they're using that. They're using that right now. Who's using it? I don't know. I don't really care. It's so convoluted. Confused populations eventually welcome authoritarian leadership. These people tend to, I don't know. If you want to know what that whole thing is, you have to go back. So, he seems to nail some things on the head. I will link the book below if you want to support our channel by buying it through there. We get a little bit of an affiliate bump. So, John says, people become discouraged through long-term psychological warfare. Anybody been feeling that? Anybody? You know how I know you have? Because we just talked about that in the last episode when I ran all your comments. People are feeling exhausted, tired, confused, irritated. Okay? No, you got to work on that. That's what they want. Don't feel discouraged. Look at your life. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Enjoy the beauty around you. Wherever you are, enjoy the beauty around you. Every day, in every way, everything gets better and better. Don't let them discourage you, because you know what? It doesn't matter. Let them play their games. That's not 5D stuff. That's all 3D stuff. It doesn't matter. Division is 3D. Unity is 5D. If you want to live in the 5D and you want to make sure you split that way, again, I don't know how that's going to happen, if it's going to happen or when it's going to happen or whatever. It doesn't matter. If you stay in unity and love, you won't have to worry about it. But if you go to a church and you start hearing division in some way, time to question that. If you start, whoever you're listening to out there in the world, it's so easy. And frankly, didn't Jesus and all the angels, God, that's what they talk about. Love, stay in love, right? But it's so interesting that we have to be aware. If we're not aware, we can't stand in our power if we're not aware. That's why we have to cover some of these things that feel really icky. But if we don't cover them, how do we notice that they're doing something, that they're doing that on purpose? And now it's becoming so clear to me because I've gone down a lot of rabbit holes, right? Probably has been clear to you for a much longer time than it has for me. So again, they love this. They love this. This is what they wanted. People become discouraged through long-term psychological warfare. Public relations are intentionally engineered. The Democratic Party, the Republican Party is intentionally engineered. Are you going to continue to participate? That is the question. Are you going to continue to participate? 5D, 3D, Crises are used to create compliance. Okay. When you see crisis come up, so many of us now, I just think it's so funny, like with the Trump, most recent Trump thing. So many people are like, yeah, right, whatever. Which is amazing because we're aware and we can laugh it off because, laughter is a good thing, and stay in high energy about it, Media narratives shape collective thinking. They've been doing that, and we're going to go into more detail tomorrow night about that. And we're going to start tomorrow night with how they actually created that Tavistock, I think it's Tavistock. It's a center. They created this in Britain. It's a center of mass psychological conditioning, a brainwashing institution, the foundation of Britain's Psychological Warfare Bureau. They started it in Britain and realized, we should take that to the United States. United States is a little too independent. We need to create the division because confused populations eventually welcome authoritarian leadership. Okay, that all being said, do not forget, that is scary if you're thinking about it from a 3D perspective, but you are not a 3D person. You are a 5D person. You are a 5D, you are whatever D, spiritual being having a human experience. Okay? So as long as you stay in love and unity, then you will have a more 5D experience, no matter what goes on around you. Okay? You can't control this at this point. You just can't. Each of us individually can't control this. Energetically, we can, because you can stand up and say, nope. I will leave you with one that we will have a full conversation about this comment from one of our community members, which I love so much. I love reading what you guys have to say. I don't respond a lot. We always respond, but it comes from my team, my other folks, Jared and Caleb, Lob. And okay, well, that was no, okay, so now I got cut off after, now it's doing 5 minutes. Now I got cut off after 15 minutes. I was just about to read this comment and I actually spent about 3 minutes talking about it and then realized I was cut off. Okay, well, apparently I'm set up for 5 minutes now. It went 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so this is how I'm ending today's video. You guys have to hear this. Okay. Pamela Faye Brockman is in our community. She's in our spirit circle. She's been one of our longest members. Thank you so much for being here. Love it. I was noticing my hair looks pretty funny when I look down. Anyways, she says, you guys, this is going to, watch your physical reaction to this. She says, what if it's this simple? I do not consent. I am a sovereign being. I do not consent to the use of my energy, of the use of my attention, my silence, or compliance in support of systems, structures, or forces that operate through deception, harm, or the exploitation of human beings. This is my standing declaration, and it does not expire. I am peace and love, so be it. And I would add, I am peace and love and unity, so be it. I love the fact it does not, this is my standing declaration and it does not expire. You know, I kind of feel like as long as we do this, you guys, here, take a picture of this. If you are, did you just get major? It's too bad. The first time I read it, I just got chills again. But I was like, when I read it out loud the first time and I didn't realize my recorder had turned off, I was like, I was tearing up. My face, I went, whoa, I'm glowing. Because I was kind of glowing just from the phone. But I was tearing up. I got major chills. And my reaction was much stronger when I said it the first time. So I love this so much, you guys, because, you know, like, again, with the galactic community, the people who are communicating with the galactic stuff, ETs, whatever, like our soul families, basically, depending on where you come from, if you're a star seed or something like that, and they're infighting stuff, but they talk about all this, you know, like you got to block the bad energy and get rid of the parasites that they've implanted in you through the, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, no, this I think is enough. I don't have to do all that. I'm not going to do all that unless something physically would make me feel better or whatever. But I'm not going to obsess over all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Because the more I do, then I just don't enjoy myself anymore. And I'm going to enjoy myself as a human being having this experience. So I love this standing declaration. Pamela, you have made my day. That was amazing. So I am going to, in fact, like maybe, Pamela, if it's okay, I would like to use this on a regular basis with the community to maybe remind us every time we're having awareness conversations that bring this in. And maybe I'll put it in the description so people always have it. Okay. All right, I better go before my camera turns me off at 5 minutes now. So got to figure out what's going on with that. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to continue talking a little bit about this, what's going on. So we can get more aware about how they've been using brainwashing. And it's like that MK Ultra stuff. It really is. It's a mass brainwashing that's been going on our whole lives. And I don't think a lot of it's not even real. So it's really good to know. And we don't consent anymore. And it doesn't expire. So, all right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care. Bye-bye.